podcast you've been looking for all along. Step into the life of urban exploration with guests from around the world. Welcome to No Tracers. Welcome back to No Tracers. My name is Kay Inigonio, otherwise known as No.Tracers on Instagram, or just the letter K on YouTube. So before we get into this podcast, I'm just going to tell you right now, if you want to listen to the podcast and look at my guests' photos, head to the Just the Letter K YouTube channel, and you can actually watch like a slideshow version with the audio underneath, so you can get to know my guest a little bit more. That's just something I got to let you guys know right up front if you want to see these photos and listen to the episode. Otherwise, you're here on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Anchor or wherever you're listening to the show. Thank you for listening. If you are on Apple Podcasts or if you do have an iTunes account, please do me a favor and leave a rating and feedback on this show. It helps us grow in the iTunes charts under the society and culture section, and it helps more people just like you that love urban exploring find this podcast. Please give it a share for me. But yeah, if you do leave a rating and feedback, I will actually send you a signed photo print of an abandoned place that I have explored. And I'm actually sending one out today to somebody that recently left some feedback on the show. So thank you so much to Joanna Lung on Instagram for leaving a rating and feedback on the podcast. It is absolutely amazing and vital to keeping this show going and keeping us growing. It means a lot to me. So thank you guys for doing that. I'm pretty sure we're at 5 stars, and we've been at 5 stars for quite a while and have a pretty good amount of feedback, which is super rad. So thank you guys for that. I really appreciate it. So just to read like one piece of feedback real quick. So Joanna Lung said, "Great podcast. I'm really into URBEX and love that this podcast brings the community closer together. It's great to hear the stories and tips that everyone shares. Super entertaining." So thank you so much, Joanna, for doing that. We have 38 ratings and we've got tons of feedback on there, which is super cool. So thank you guys for doing that. I really appreciate it. So this week, my guest is Mio Teriyaki on Instagram. Go give her a follow. Check out her stuff. Super cool photos, and I'm super grateful to have her on all the way from Germany. Hey, we had 2 Germans come on in a row. I think that's super freaking cool. So if you guys want to check her out, go check out her stuff. She explores with her dog, which I think is super cool. We haven't had a guest that does that on the show yet. So this is a new one for me to talk about exploring with a dog. So this should be super interesting. Before we get into it, a couple more things I would just want to let you guys know about. First of all, I do have a photography book about urban exploring out. I also have a URBEX duffel bag, which says "Leave No Trace" on it. If you guys want to pick that up, I also have a backpack, some other things. Head to notracers.com, or you can go to justtheletterk.com/shop and you can check out that stuff over there. Thank you for supporting the podcast in that way. If you guys want to send a donation or leave a tip, I also have my PayPal, I have my Venmo, I have all my stuff in the description. If you guys want to hook it up with a tip, appreciate that. It helps me to travel to other places. I also have a Patreon, so if you guys want to join the Patreon and support monthly, you get early access to all of my content, which is super rad. So the last thing I need to let you know about is that we have a partner here on this podcast, and that is Liquid Death Mountain Water. If you've never heard of Liquid Death Water, well, get ready. I've got an ad for you in 3, 2, 1. From the streams of the Austrian Alps comes a new kind of water. A water that is sure to raise you from your grave. If you're tired of buying cases of plastic water bottles that contain carcinogens and God knows what else, or if you're trying to lower your waste footprint, Liquid Death comes in beautifully rugged aluminum cans. Murder your thirst with a can of Liquid Death. Check the link in the description and use code JustTheLetterK at checkout for 10% off your order. Liquid Death. Murder your thirst. So yeah, go to liquiddeath.com/justtheletterk. There's a link down in the description. You can click on that link. It'll take you straight there. Get a case of water, get 50 cases of water, however much water you want to drink, and get a set of koozies, and then use code JustTheLetterK for 10% off your order. Thank you guys so much for supporting me through Liquid Death. And without further ado, Mio Teriyaki, please introduce yourself and how long you've been exploring to the No Tracers audience.
All right, so my name is Katharina. I'm from Berlin, and I'm urbexing with my dog, Mio Teriyaki. since almost 12 years now.
Wow. So what got you into exploring in the first place? What made you like become addicted to urban exploring?
To be honest, it's really hard to tell because I think it already started when I was a kid. And I always went on adventures with my parents. We were visiting like castles and all that stuff where there is a lot in Germany. And I think it started there already, but this morbid love for abandoned places, it was really strong, or it became really strong when I first went to a lung clinic here, a pretty famous lung clinic here close to Berlin. And that's where it all started. And I loved the history behind it and this beautiful, really beautiful buildings. I also studied cultural history, so I was always fascinated by stories about the past, old buildings, old stones.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, the history is like one of the main reasons I think a lot of us do this. We love looking into the past, and the fact that we get to go to these places and almost step into the past. I think that's very special, and that makes this such a unique hobby that we do and that we love. So take me more into that first exploration. Tell me like what you experienced and why you wanted to like continue doing it after that, because you know some people will do one exploration and be like, oh, I'm good, this isn't for me. But for you, I mean, you said you've been doing it for 12 years, so take me into that very first exploration and what it was like and what you experienced.
Yeah, it was actually with my parents and my dog. And I don't know how we get there or why we get there in this lung clinic, which almost every explorer knows, and which is now almost like Disneyland. And we went there, and it was like in 12 years ago, it was really different to how it is now, to how the place is now, and you could almost feel what the people went through there. It it had so much history in it, and the atmosphere was so breathtaking. And my mom and me, we love to go through all the rooms and imagine stories behind every room and what happened there, who lived there, who was there, and yeah, and then we dig deeper after we went there, and went there a couple more times and found out, oh, there are more places like that. So we have to hunt them. And what's also a part of it probably is the thrill behind it. You know, it's forbidden, and to do something that is not allowed is as always a special thing for me. I always love to do forbidden stuff, and yeah, so it's a mixture. Yeah. It's a mixture of research, that it's forbidden, and then really go there and feel the energy there. So it's a very diverse hobby, I would say.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, that energy is something that I talk about a lot on this show. You know, I think that there's a lot of different types of energy when you go into these places, but it kind of like lingers, you know, it's in the air, like it's tangible, you can feel it. And I think that's so special. Yeah. And it's something unique to only abandoned places, you know, like you don't go to like a modern museum and feel like the energy, you know what I'm saying?
Totally. That's also something what I really like about those old abandoned buildings. I mean, there are some abandoned buildings that are pretty modern and new, and the decay is not there yet. And that's not what I'm really interested in. Yeah. I mean, it's cool if there is a restaurant which is completely packed with all this stuff and they just left, but it's not the same for me.
I agree.
love those old buildings.
I completely agree. So for you, when did photography come into your life? When did you start taking photos and start documenting these abandoned places?
That's actually a hard topic for me because I'm not a big photographer myself. I started with, I think it was a Nokia phone. I started taking pictures of my dog because my dog is like, I mean, there is no other motive for me as my dog, to be honest. And my dad is really into photography for a long time. He's an architect and also does really great pictures. And yeah, I took pictures for the last 11 years with my iPhone. And last year on Christmas, my dad gave me a camera and told me, "Okay, now it has to stop. You need to take proper pictures with a proper camera." But to be honest, I'm not interested in how it all works. I just want the camera to take a good picture, a good shot. But I really don't want to understand why it's happening.
I see.
It's so sad. It's really, really sad. And I'm a little embarrassed of it, but it is how it is. It's not possible to know everything and to be interested in everything.
Sure.
But good thing it turns out, and it's pretty easy to take those HDR pictures without you knowing a thing about photography.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I get it. Also, sorry for the ambulance that's driving by right now, but yeah, I think, not everybody has to be like into photography, even to do like urban exploring. I think it's more, I mean, it's a hobby at the end of the day, and I mean, I am a full-time freelance videographer and photographer, so I get paid to do it. But I mean, I don't think that everybody has to like be a professional photographer to be an urban explorer. It's just like something that comes with it so that you can like document it and keep that like for yourself, so I think
also, also I got the feeling my pictures, or I like my pictures better, my iPhone pictures, because they had more, it wasn't this professional pic, it had more atmosphere, and I knew how to do it. And with a real proper camera, I just don't have the skills, the edit skills to make it, to create this beautiful dark atmosphere. So it's, I think taking pictures with a proper camera is a lot about editing, and I'm not good in Photoshop or Lightroom or whatever. I have a few apps on my phone, and then I edit the pictures on my phone. So it's funny because I have an exhibition soon. Somebody crazy asked me if I want to exhibit my pictures.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, sure. Of course, let's do it. But it's really hard to print those camera pics, those iPhone pics in a big size. Right. It's just not possible. Right. So I had to take a few more pictures with my new camera, and it turned out very well. But I'm not that happy, to be honest.
Sure.
Yeah.
Where's the exhibition going to be at?
It's in Italy. In Italy, in an winery, they have like this art exhibitions every now and then.
Wow.
And yeah, I'm really honored. I'm really, really happy about that. But it feels so, I feel like I'm like an imposter.
You have a little bit of the imposter syndrome going on, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
I get it, like, and going back to like the printing your work out, printing out your photos, I think that's like the one thing I could say is like for people that are like, should I get a proper like professional camera? Like if you want to print your photos out, then definitely go that route. Cause like you just said, the iPhone photos, you can only do so much with those. Like the cameras are great on those phones, but they're just not print worthy, like print quality, like a pro camera is. So it's cool that you learned that, and you like took that away from it. So I mean, you're taking the steps, and the fact that you've been invited out to an exhibition is huge. Not a lot of photographers, especially urban exploration photographers, get that opportunity. Like I remember my first art show, like my first exhibition, like I had like all these like URBEX photos, and it was like the most unique photography that they had there, just because like there's a million photos of the ocean and trees and whatever, but like not that much of abandoned places. So I think that it's really, really cool that you're getting to do that. So definitely, like, I get the imposter syndrome thing, but like, it's definitely really, really cool that you're getting to do that. So, I mean, take it with a grain of salt.
And they want to sell. They want to sell the pictures. That's even more crazy. I'm just like, are you sure? Who buys them? Okay.
Hey, obviously somebody sees value in your photography. So I mean, that's awesome. So like, a huge congratulations for that. And you know, if people want to go to that art exhibition in Italy, like, I hope that they, you know, reach out to you for tickets or whatever. But moving on
it's for free, probably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Really?
Yeah. It's close to Milan, Turin, Genoa. So many explorers are in Italy right now. So if you are there, go there and look at my pictures.
Yes. Awesome. So do you have any urban exploration injury stories? Have you ever like been hurt on an explore?
Yeah, not a really bad injury. I mean, I'm always pretty careful because I have my dog with me, right? Yeah. And I don't want him to get hurt. But one time, it was at an abandoned hotel in the middle of a city. And I had to climb into a window. And first I threw my dog through this window and he was inside. And then I was like, oh shit, I have to go in there too. And my dog is in there now. But it was too high for me to climb. I just recognized that after I already threw him in. So I climbed up, I gave everything, and I cut my knee or my leg. I cut it open when I was climbing up. But I didn't feel it right away. I was inside of the hotel, and you know, the adrenaline, you don't feel anything. I was just happy I have my dog and he's not trapped in there without me.
Right.
And yeah, then I was taking pictures and I felt something on my leg and I was like, oh, no, a spider, or what is it? And I looked down, but it was blood dripping down my leg. And it wasn't, I mean, I didn't lose a leg,
right?
But it was pretty deep. And I thought it's funny because I didn't feel it. And that's how much adrenaline I had in me. But other than that, I mean, the usual stuff, right?
Sure.
You always have those URBEX legs when you are somewhere.
Yeah.
And you always, I mean, I never have nice fingernails only because of URBEXing.
Right.
But no, I never hurt myself. Also, Mio never hurt himself.
That's
because
good.
We are really, really careful.
That's good. That's good. And then I know that you so you have your dog with you. Like, what's the scariest situation you guys have been in together? Like, and this could be, I don't know if you believe in like paranormal stuff. Like some urban explorers do, some don't. But like, what was your scariest exploration with him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe in ghosts,
sure,
but I have a scary ghost story, even though I don't believe in it. It's two stories in one. I love asylums. I really, really love abandoned asylums, and most of the time I explore by myself. I only have my dog with me. So when I was in Italy for the first time by myself, I had to. I knew in one asylum there is a really, really beautiful room, and I wanted to take a picture of this room. So in order to get there, I had to go through the basement, and in the basement there were like cells, and on the wall of the cells, it was pitch black dark in there, and on the walls in the cells there were like with scratched pictures with, I don't know, fingernails or something from the inmates who've been in there before. And it was some scary shit, like horror visions on the walls. This was really really bad. And it was, I think, my second location I did all by myself, and I'm scared of the dark. So this was pretty scary. But the other story was in an asylum too, and it was my second try to get in there. The first try didn't work out because there were so many people outside. It's partly active, and but I made it on the second day. And Mio and me, we went in there, and right now I felt like somebody is choking me, and I had no air, nothing. And Mio was really scared. And usually when he's scared, I listen to him because his intuition is, of course, a lot better than mine. And I don't know if it was because I was scared or because he was scared, and we both infected each other. But I knew I had to go through a long way through the modern part of the building to get to the old part of the building. And I heard so many stories about this asylum. It was one of the most brutal asylums in those times when it was still open. And they had sticks, long sticks, to hit the inmates. Wow. With those sticks. And I saw the sticks there.
Wow.
And so, yeah, and I had no air anymore. I couldn't breathe anymore. And it was so weird. And I felt like I wasn't welcome there. As I said, I don't believe in ghosts, but sometimes the energy is not very welcoming.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I sat down there and thought, okay, maybe just reacclimate a little, wait like 10 minutes. But there was no way for me to cool down. So we left, and I never went there again. I still really want to do it, but not by myself. The third time won't be by myself.
Right.
It was horrible. Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy. You know, like I hear similar stories like that all the time. And, you know, I've been into my fair share. Asylums are my favorite places to explore. They're number one for me is asylums, just because of, you know, the history, the energy surrounding those places is so powerful. Like we were just talking about. And, you know, I've felt similar feelings, maybe not like the choking specifically, but, you know, I felt like that energy kind of like surround me, and it's like, I call it the darkness because like I don't have any other way of explaining it. And, you know, I think it's only something that urban explorers have experienced. I don't think normal people have experienced the darkness. I think it's a very specific to urban explorers that, like, once you've experienced that, you know that feeling forever. It's the thing that makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Like, it's crazy.
True. But sometimes I think, is it because I knew so many stories about the place, so many bad stories, that maybe my subconscious tricked me into this fear. If I hadn't known anything about this place, maybe it wouldn't have been so scary.
Right. Yeah. It could be your mind playing tricks on you, like you said. That's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
And then, so why do you explore by yourself? Like, what makes you want to do this alone? You know, a lot of people are like, I have to go with a group of people or whatever, but like some people just like to go solo. Like, what is it about exploring? I mean, you have your dog with you, but like, what is it about exploring that makes you want to do it by yourself?
Yeah. Actually, at the beginning, I didn't even think about it. It just started because I have so much time and other people don't. So I can go whenever, and other people don't. And my parents started it with me, and they have to work during the week. I'm self-employed, so I can drive to Italy or somewhere else whenever I want to and stay there for a couple of months. But find somebody who wants to join or who can join you for such a long time. Also, my boyfriends were not really into urbexing, so I always had to force them to come, and that's not. I mean, then stay where you are, but leave me alone and let me do my stuff. And also, it's kind of it's meditating for me. to go by myself, and all your senses are so much more open when you are by yourself than when you are with a group of people. And you can feel those locations so much better when you are alone. I just came back from Italy last week, and I was there with my parents for 2 weeks, exploring 2 weeks, and 1 week with Absinthe of Time and Moody from Greece and from France. And I really enjoyed going urbexing with other people, but it's such a difference to go by yourself. And all those emotions you have when you are in there are really a lot to take, I think. And I like to be by myself after exploring and during exploring, just because I want to feel it. I want to feel the adventure more. Does it make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I totally understand what you're saying about like your senses are more open when you're by yourself. And I think that's like a survival thing, you know, it's like an instinct to be like that. And I know exactly what you're talking about, because the times I have explored by myself, I'm definitely more aware of everything in the building.
Yeah, exactly.
And for you, what has been your favorite exploration?
Wow, that's really, really hard to tell. Because it's there are different categories of favorite. And most of the time, the last cool one I did is my new favorite. But I think the one which has the biggest place in my heart is one of the lung clinics, one of the first locations I did when I started. And I think it's one of them. Only because it was so new, and it's really big. It was really beautiful, and after that, it took a long time to find something which is that special. But another favorite, I have a favorite villa, or I had a favorite villa in Italy, which was there was so much stuff in it, and it belonged to two scientists, to a couple, a scientist couple, and there was even a tuberculosis medicine in the glass bottle from 1915 or something, and all their diaries and lots of stuff. I really, really enjoyed being there and going through all the stuff. But the sad thing about it, I came back, I revisited it, I don't know, was it a year later? I think it was a year later, and it was completely trashed. Man. And it really, I mean, there was a really big YouTuber there before, so sometimes that stuff makes it a little quicker. But it was really, really sad. So I think I decided I don't want to go to those kind of locations twice, because it breaks my heart every time. Yeah.
And, you know, I think one of the topics I have on this show is about social media and like the URBEX community. And, you know, a lot of people say that it used to be really tight knit and really like special. And now people are using it to find and vandalize and destroy places. And we have a water park out here in California that, you know, everybody knows about it, you know, so I don't mind talking about it, but I go back there frequently, and every time I go, it gets worse and worse and worse. And, you know, recently, the most recent time I went, they like burned down one of the buildings. And so I'm like, I don't even want to go back there anymore, just because it's like you said, it's heartbreaking. It's like gut wrenching to see these beautiful places that we love to explore and take photos of just falling apart and getting destroyed by stupid people doing stupid things just for no reason. Like there's no reason to do that, you know, and it really puts a bad taste in my mouth with like the URBEX community when it comes to like that kind of stuff. So, but you know, the good thing about, or I guess a positive thing about social media is I've been able to meet so many incredible people and, network with like other photographers. And, I recently was traveling to another state, and a friend of mine, Big Banks, he's like super popular right now. He's like, and I think he just went to like Denmark or somewhere to explore, but, he hit me up. He was like, hey, I'm in town. Like, we should meet up, and so it's cool to have social media to be able to meet up with other people and that thing. So, for you, like,
I didn't even know. I didn't even know about that urbexing is a thing, or that there is a community. Till I saw it on Instagram. I did it like, I don't know, 8 years without knowing that there are other people who do that too. So. And actually, of course, I find my locations and do the research with Instagram and social media too. So it's two sides of a coin.
Exactly. There's pros and cons to everything, and social media is no different to that. So, for you, do you have any bucket list items, like goal places that you want to explore that you haven't been to yet?
Yeah, I really do. And most of them are far away, but I can't go till my dog is gone.
Yeah.
Because he's so old, I can't fly with him. And I only can go by car everywhere. So I really want to go. It's so cheesy, and I know some people will say, it's not really urbexing. It's Chernobyl. I really want to go to Chernobyl.
I mean, same.
Fukushima. Yeah, but it's not really. I mean, it's like a amusement.
It's like a tourist destination now.
Yeah, it is, and also Fukushima.
Yeah,
and yeah, I really want to go to Japan now. Mm-hmm. Japan must be so nice, and yeah, it's not exactly locations, but places where I really want to go.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, Japan's got like so much stuff there. Battleship Island, like there's so many cool things out there that I also would love to go see. And, I'm lucky enough to, so I'm a photographer, like I said, and I tour with bands. Yeah. So I met a band from Japan, and they were like, you should come out to Japan and tour with us. And I was like, can we go exploring? Like, if I'm going to go out there, I got to do everything possible, So hopefully, I was supposed to go last year, but obviously COVID, so that kind of screwed it up. But hopefully next year I'll be able to go out to Japan and explore a little bit. That would be super cool. But we'll see.
Do it. There are some, there's one guy from United States living there, an explorer, Ghost. His name is Ghost. He lives in Japan. So hit him up. He can probably help you.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'll have you connect us after this. But so if you could live in one abandoned place that you've explored before for an entire week, like comfortably, nobody's going to kick you out or anything. Nobody will show up. Like, which place would it be?
Yeah, probably a palazzo with lots of nice beds in there and mirrors. I was in one a few weeks ago, but it's pretty trashed. I think I would need a toilet. Toilets are shitty there. But probably a castle or a villa, a nice palazzo, something like that. Not in an asylum. Never. No, and not in a factory or stuff like that. Sure. No, in a nice villa with beautiful paintings on the ceiling, and I would sleep in a different room every night in a beautiful bed. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
With lots of creepy animals, probably, but yeah.
It's okay as long as there's no creepy people.
There are some people who do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. True. I mean, I slept next to a bando one time, and we were in there during the night, but not in a bando. That's Also not by myself. Do I have to stay there a week all by myself?
No, I mean, you could take somebody with you, I think.
Okay, then, still villa.
Perfect. And then my last question for you is, what is something you know now that you wish you knew when you started exploring?
Good question. Wear proper shoes and always take water with you, no matter what you think, how shitty the location will be, and even if you think, oh, it's going to be a really quick explore. No, most of the time it's not, and then you are standing there without water. That's stupid. And also, never lose your keys in a bando, because that happened twice to me.
Oh, no.
This and another thing is always tell somebody where you go.
Yeah.
And another thing, don't think the front door is not open and find the difficult way and then find out, oh, the front door is open and all that scratches on your legs are for nothing because you could have just walked in.
Oh my God.
Always try that first.
Yep. I have such a an experience with that. You know, I went to this abandoned elementary school, and it was like 4 floors, had a basement, and you know, we had to like crawl through the basement to get in, and then we get to like the main level. The front doors, there's no door on the door frame, it's just wide open, and I was like, why didn't we even check?
Yeah, same. There are lots of stories like that.
Yep. Amazing. So thank you so much for coming on the show. If people want to keep following your journey, please tell them your social media one more time so they can give you a follow and keep watching what you do.
It's Mio Teriyaki, M-I-O, teriyaki like the food. On Instagram. We are not very active on Facebook.
All right, guys, that was my episode with Mio Teriyaki. Go give her a follow on Instagram. Thank you so much for coming on the show. If you would like to come on the show, I would love to have you. All you got to do is reach out to me at no.tracers on Instagram or no tracers on TikTok, and we'll get you on the schedule. I would love to do more of these. I love this show. It's my favorite thing to do, and I appreciate you listening. If you liked the show and you're new, please hit the subscribe button. If you're a veteran listener, if you've been listening to a couple episodes now and you kind of have an idea of what the show runs like, please leave a rating and feedback on Apple Podcasts. It helps us grow in the iTunes charts, helps more people find us that are listeners just like you. And I want to know where you listen to the podcast. Is it while you're in a bando, while you're on the way to the bando? I've heard a lot of people listen to these when they're driving out to bandos, and I think that's so fucking cool. So let me know where you guys listen on the No Tracers Instagram. Send me a DM, and I would love to hear some of your stories. So let's keep the conversation going over there. If you guys enjoyed this, like I said, hit the subscribe button. If you want to support me further, there are many ways to do so. There are lots of links down in the description to gear items that I recommend for urban exploring if you want to pick something up. I also have a book, I have a duffel bag, I have backpacks, I have all kinds of stuff that you can support me by getting at notracers.com or justtheletterk.com/shop. Those are my 2 websites where you can find my gear. Thank you guys. I'll talk to you next week for another episode of No Tracers. Stay strong, keep enduring, go out, go explore something, and remember, leave no trace.